Hello, beautiful listeners and viewers, and welcome to today's session. I am very excited to have Candace with us. I met Candace last fall, and she is one of those people that you just instantly love and lights up a room. And I know that you are going to enjoy our time together. You saw that there when she smiled, right? That she just lights up the room. Candace is a workshop teacher and coach. She has trained in different modalities. She's um, a licensed and certified Heal Your Life teacher and coach. And we are going to talk today about many different things, but in particular about how our physical environment or our physical health is a result of what's going on in here and in our minds, what's going on in our minds. And so a manifestation of our thoughts then occurring. We are going to get in that with the expert. Her website is candaceburkhart.com. That's CandaceBurkart.com. She's got lots of great things over there, including free resources for you. So hop on over there, get the free resources, get on her mailing list so you know what she's got coming up. And it's always exciting. So welcome, Candace.
Thank you, Victoria. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you. Absolutely. So let's just dive right in. And you had to overcome a lot of adversity to have this aha moment about the connection between the physical and the mind. And I believe it was because you had your own health challenges, correct?
Yes, exactly. And, as honestly, to be truthful, as I look back at now, it started way before the initial one. But ultimately, really what ended up happening was I was 38 years old, and my husband was dressing me because I had back issues, and they were so severe that I couldn't do anything, right? I couldn't walk for more than 5 minutes, nothing. And yeah, so it kind of started with that. So.
Wow. So Candace, did it come on gradually? Did it come on suddenly? Do you know how you ended up with a physical manifestation? I mean, sometimes, when it comes to a back, we fell down the stairs and we hurt our back. Other times, we've got that spiritual mind-body connection. Can you just kind of walk us through the process of how you first started to feel ill, what you went through during that journey with your doctors and different modalities of trying things, and then how you came out the other side? Because I can tell the listeners and viewers that you don't sit still for 2 minutes now. And you're full of energy and incredibly fit and healthy. So share away, Candace. I want to know how you went from A to Z.
Well, it was quite interesting. So it was back in the beginning of January 2013, and my husband and my son and we were coming back from, I think it was Cancun. So we were sitting in coach, and like you've got the 3 seats close together.
Oh, I know.
Right. So, and I can remember sitting there and just sitting there, and I ended up turning to look to my husband, and all of a sudden I had this sharp pain in my low back, and I went, oh no. Get off the plane, and it seemed to be okay, like it was really bugging me and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of left it go for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden it just started getting progressively worse, and there was nothing that I had done prior. So I went to the doctors because ultimately ended up where I couldn't do anything. I couldn't work. I couldn't walk. I was on high medication, went for an MRI, and ultimately the neurosurgeon told me that, well, Candace, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have back surgery. Well, number one, I'm afraid of needles. And, and 2, I had heard, shouldn't even say heard, but I had known people that have had back surgery, and really the results weren't stellar. It was good for a little bit, but ultimately you were kind of back in the same position, if not worse, before.
So you instinctively go, okay, that's not for me.
No, not whatsoever. So I like rested and did all those kinds of things, and just started looking into different ways of healing. So, like, what's going on here? Like, why is this happening to me? Started going to the chiropractor, like all of those things that you do physically for your body, right? And then, everything seemed to be fine. Really started journaling and really tapping into kind of what's going on. Ultimately, really just kind of tapping into what was going on with me inside. However, it was quite interesting because I was good after, no back surgery. I teach fitness classes, all of those kinds of things. However, what was really the most aha moment for me about how our physical world is a direct manifestation of what's going on inside was it back in 2018. I was doing good, like physically, everything was fine, but I ended up telling my boss off.
Mm-hmm. And so did that cause more back pain or relieve the back pain?
Well, I ended up telling my boss off, and it was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And this is kind of where it comes from, like there was a lot of aha moments or a lot of things that were kind of poking at me. Told my boss off, ended up having to go on antidepressants, and just realized, okay, there's got to be something else going on, because there were so many things happening with me physically. Why am I angry? What's going on? All of that kind of stuff.
So storing all of this in your body.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of where really everything truly began. I picked up Louise's book, You Can Heal Your Life, and that's where things kind of started.
And so from there, you turned to affirmations. You were doing the journaling. You were releasing the old emotion. Yeah. What other types of work were you doing to help that you noticed made a difference in your physical self?
A lot of the work had to really come down to me keeping my non-negotiables, like truly coming back to myself.
Such a good point.
Right. Like my non-negotiables, and just, like for myself, because ultimately, and I say this to my clients all the time, is it's like the airplane. When we're on the plane, what do they tell us? They say, put the mask on yourself first, because if you don't, what's going to end up happening is you can't help anybody when you're sick.
Yeah.
Or dead. So it just really came down to like the number one thing was just my non-negotiables. My morning routine.
Right. So the non-negotiables, the boundaries around them, that morning routine, you're absolutely right. So many people that I talk to, that morning routine just sets their mindset for the day, and it helps them with, releasing what they need to release. It helps them working through, whether maybe your morning routine includes fitness. So maybe you're going to the gym and you're building muscle. Maybe your morning routine is affirmations and journaling. And so you're building a different type of muscle by having that practice. And now you teach people how to do the same. And, I think it's wonderful that you have your own story and that you have that empathy for others and what they're going through. Because frankly, when we are feeling like we're stuck in a hole, or we're dealing with a lot of pain in our body, or even, pain in other areas of our life, not necessarily in our body, but in our mind, or in our finances, or whatever it might be. We don't want somebody coming along and being like, and don't worry, it's fine, just meditate. We want tools. We want somebody who has walked through the fire and can lead us to the other side. And I think that's what's so special and so unique about what it is that you do.
Yeah, like one of the biggest things is, and don't get me wrong, I believe in positivity. I really do.
Oh,
Nobody wants
yes.
to be right. Like nobody wants to be around a negative Nancy, Norman,
No.
or whoever, right? Like, however, I believe that there's a difference between positivity and toxic positivity, right?
Ah, beautifully said. Tell us the difference.
Oh, positivity, I believe, is when you're actually positive and happy and you feel good, like you can feel it in your
Yeah.
body. It's not that forcing yourself to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
However, toxic positivity is where I feel and I believe is where you feel you have to be positive, where you have to put on that face all the time. And
Yes.
really, all that's doing, in my opinion, is just making things worse because you're not dealing with the emotions. You're not dealing with the layers that really need to be healed because
Mm-hmm.
when you're just smiling and nodding and being like, oh, we can get through this, it's great,
Yeah. Well,
you're just masking it.
and one thing I thought of while you were talking is that toxic positivity is actually doing the reverse on our inside because we're rejecting parts of ourselves. So we're saying, I'm actually really angry right now, or I'm really disappointed right now, or I'm jealous right now, whatever it might be. But I'm not going to acknowledge that. I'm going to put my blinders on and just say, everything is awesome, everything's wonderful. But deep inside, I know that I have those feelings. And so by rejecting that part of myself, it creates shame. And then I feel like I'm one person to Candace, I'm one person to
Yes.
Nancy or Norman, those other people that you mentioned,
Yeah.
and that I'm not being my real self. And so, and I've not discussed this with someone before, so I'm finding this interesting. So I would think that, using those examples that I said, if I'm feeling angry or jealous or disappointed, to just acknowledge, okay, I'm feeling angry at Candace right now. I'm gonna sit with it for a bit and decide, the best way to proceed with this. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue loving Candace and knowing that, she's doing the best she can, and this might actually be a reflection of me. Um,
Yes.
but I do need to look into it instead of saying, "Oh, Candace is great. Candace is wonderful," and the end of that sentence is on the inside, so it's clearly not something I'm willing to look at, right? Whereas when we're willing to look inside, that's where the treasures are.
Exactly. Exactly. And then it goes back to the whole boundaries also, right? So if you're not being true to yourself and you have that smile and nod and you're not expressing really truly how you're feeling, you don't have great personal boundaries for yourself. Like, and
So true.
right, like, and when I talk about boundaries, like, yes, people can have great boundaries with other people, right? Where at work, like, no, please do not bother me here, things like that. But really, let's talk about boundaries for ourselves.
Mhm.
and
Let's
and
talk
just
about it. Yes.
and just honestly being able to allow ourselves the space and the time, the energy, the love to really respect what is going on with ourselves. And I don't feel that many people are really seeing or giving themselves that opportunity to like just tap into that. And that's where all of those things like go into your body. And like with the unconscious mind, right? Like the unconscious mind sees, like it holds everything at a cellular level, everything that we say, everything that's been said to us, everything we've thought, everything that has been done to us, everything we've done, all that kind of stuff. And it holds it at a cellular level. And then, eventually it's kind of like, okay, I just can't do this anymore. But we keep pushing it down. And that's where the whole our thoughts, our beliefs. It doesn't necessarily mean that, this conversation here or a conversation that we've had just before, it doesn't mean that that's the manifestation. It doesn't mean that that was the issue. Like when we set those personal boundaries and we set those boundaries with ourselves and just being able to go, okay, what do I need here?
Yes.
Like, what do I need here? Do like, does what I'm doing, does that support the life that I want?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And just being able to really tap into what's happening, because again, all the different things that happen to us in our body, like, it's the shoulders. You got shoulder pain, like usually a burden, right? Like you're carrying the weight of the world. I always laugh. Sorry, I always laugh because I get people, they talk and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, I have a kink in my neck. I slept wrong. How do you sleep wrong? Have you ever like really sat there and tapped into what is going on? Like what's going on with your neck, and really like breathe into it and talk to your body, talk to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so incredible, the physical sensations that come up. Just an example, last night, I was driving home and I drove by a police officer. It was dark, it was foggy, and the police officer had pulled over someone in a work truck. And, they had their safety vest on and everything, the person in the work truck. And so I had instant anxiety. And I'm like, what is this about? Like in my body, I had instant anxiety, short of breath, feeling very tense, butterflies in the stomach. And I was able to stop and say, okay, clearly I don't have anxiety about that fellow. Clearly it's something else. And so I sat with it for a minute and I thought about how, I'm anxious about my son, who's a truck driver, out on the road in the fog. And this is how it manifested in my body, right? If I wasn't paying attention, would I have carried that anxiety for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, right? And then it all compounds and you wake up with the kink in your neck.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And isn't that a wonderful awareness for you to be able to have that? And like, I know a lot of people are like, not so much, I don't have time for this. But the more you do it, it's like healing, change. It's all, it's you work through it. Like the way I like to talk about and really deal with like the change in your habits and all that kind of stuff is think of healing and think of your awarenesses and listening to your body and stuff like that. Just because you do 10 squats or go to the gym for an hour one day doesn't mean you're going to have a rockin' awesome body, right? Yeah. So you just have to keep on doing the things. Like change is it just takes time and you have to stick with it. So
it's so true. And having those habits in place and like you said, your personal non-negotiables, your personal boundaries to create the future you want. And as you were speaking earlier, I was reminded of Louise Hay's affirmation: every thought you think and every word you speak is creating your future. And, every word you write, every squat you do, all of this, right? We are creating our future. And personal growth work, not easy, but I think when we shift it to, I'm building the future I want by doing what I need to do today and taking the pressure off of, I should be so spiritual. I should never get angry. I should have total forgiveness, all of those things, and just say, today, I'm going to do what I can. Yes. Today, this is my plan. And that it's a journey, that it's not a box you get to check off.
Right. And again, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Right. So, like I love what you were saying there about, like today. And I can remember, Victoria, we were actually talking last week and we were talking about daily tasks and things like that. And for myself, I know sometimes I have this big expectation of myself where, you know what, I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to drink all this water, I'm going to do my affirmations, like I'm going to meditate, I'm going to read, all of those kinds of things. And I feel we put so much pressure on ourselves to be and do all these kinds of things where I can remember, I gave myself a long list for 2023 at the beginning. It's like, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this. And then I got into it for 3-4 days and it's like, I can't do all of this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So, right. And it's just kind of like, okay, well, I'm not going to shame myself. I'm not going to get mad at myself. I'm just going to accept that, okay, maybe I put a little bit too much on my plate.
That's right. And we have to set ourselves up for success, and we can change. I'm actually working on a blog right now about this, like when it's okay to ditch your goals.
Right.
And so just setting yourself up for success, being kind, being gentle, being loving to yourself, that is how you create this alignment in your life that Candace has been talking about, this where your body and your mind are not in contrast of each other, but instead are working together. And for more information, again, CandaceBurkhart.com. I'll put it in the show notes, but for those of you looking it up right now, it's CandaceBurkhart.com. She does a complimentary clarity call. It's, I think it's only about 15-20 minutes, but as you can see, Candace is straight to the point and she'll be helpful, and you'll know whether or not you would like to continue on working with Candace. So please do pop over there and check out her free resources, get on that email list. You will love her as much as I do. So thank you so much for being on this show today, Candace.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
I want to share in closing a quote that you told me was one of your favorites. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And that is by Carl Jung. And that just sums up exactly what we've been talking about today. So thank you, Candace.
You're welcome. Thank you.